Hey, Kate and Philip, how do you both manage to create so much content? Philip uploads a lot of videos with good thumbnails, etc. How do you approach content creation? Do you overthink on thumbnails, things like that? Kate's the content guy. I don't know, Kate, do you want to take this first? Do you want me to answer it? Because what do you
Yeah, I
think?
can. I mean, yeah, with mine, I just observe lots of viral thumbnails, and the Mr. Beast one's pretty solid. Big face, big reaction face on one side of the screen or in the middle, and then a very like you want it to keep it simple. You don't want clutter in the thumbnail. You want it to be a clear, like, this is the face that I recognize. So Kate's face, in my opinion, in my situation, and then whatever the topic of the title is, I want to complement that title with a visual. So I don't need to I don't need to reiterate what the title says. I don't need to say it again. And like if the title is, XRP goes to the moon, I don't want to, I guess I can for very simple things like that. Maybe you can just get away with like XRP on the screen and a rocket ship. But generally you don't want to copy the title. You want to make it complementary to the title, in the sense that they could almost be separate without the other and be okay. And so whatever you can do to make it simple, though, a lot of times I stick to with like one color scheme, one big subject, and then me. I try and keep it simple. And especially if you have a show like this, like the Web3 show, we're going to cover 12 topics. It's hard because you have to choose between, like, do I list out all the topics so people know what to expect? Do I pick the best story? I don't want people to miss the other stories because they only saw XRP in the title. And you kind of have to make that decision there. And that sort of changes based on everything. Like, you kind of have to just sit there and weigh it out and be like, okay, what's the biggest story here? What will at least get them into the door? And then will they stay? Is the chances of me saying XRP goes to the moon in the title, or should I say XRP, Cool Cats, Starbucks, 7-Eleven? Like, which one will get more attention? And that's something you kind of have to just play with, and you figure that out as you do trial and error. And you just look at your content and say which content hits better, which titles hit better, why did it hit? So that's generally my approach with content creation, specifically with thumbnails.
Yeah, Krishna, I don't know. I feel underqualified to. I'll give you. I do personally. I'm not saying it's the right way because I feel underqualified. I really do. I'll say that for me, because of the market that we're in at the moment, which if you had seen me 2 years ago when I started this, I was doing a show 5 nights a week live.
Same.
5 nights a week. Yeah, insane. Absolutely insane. Prepared. One was a new show, one was upcoming projects. So projects that hadn't yet minted that looked like there was potential. Another one was projects that had just dropped, a post-drop analysis show. We went mad. Morland would do a gaming show once a week, and then I would just do a show where I spoke about whatever was going on that week, and then we'd do a
How
Freestyle
did you
Friday
do that?
where
How did you have time? You were
we
working.
made time. I was working and I was project manager, not project manager. Uh, what do they call it in Discord when you're
PM,
running the whole
manager.
thing? Community manager for 3 projects at the heart of it at the same time
Were you
as
still
doing all
doing
of
your
this.
job or not?
Not as well as I should have been. But at that point, I was
Hey,
making more of 8 pictures and stuff like that than I could ever make a my job. Like $100,000 on a picture of an ape in a month. I was like, okay, well, let me give this a bit more time than my normal job. So my normal job did suffer, but there was legitimate time for about 4 or 5 months where we were both Morgan and I were
yeah.
sleeping maybe 3 hours a night maximum every night, 7 days a week, and then we would meet and discuss the next week's things. It was too much,
That's a crazy
but
time
in
to be
this
alive, bro.
market,
That's a
yeah,
crazy time to be alive.
it was like make hay while the sun shines. We knew that there was a
It was
limited
just,
time.
bro,
You
the
know,
energy was so like,
yeah,
like that's
you
how it
gotta
felt the
go
whole
go.
time, like for
Yeah,
months straight.
for sure.
Oh, dude,
Now it's a different story.
gets me
Now it's a
going,
different
dude.
story because I think if you try to do, I never want it to be like we're reaching for topics, and I think with the amount of news that's coming out and projects that are coming out that are worth talking about, like
Yeah.
the whole of this month, we've maybe had Ether is the only
Mhm.
project
I'm
worth
surprised you
talking
did
about.
not bring that up, by the way.
Not today, but we spoke about it last week and we
Yep.
spoke about it the week before. So for me now, it's very different to how I would do it if we were in a bull market. So for me now, what I do is I do the show with Cade, And then I break it up. We edit it on my side to make it into separate videos, because a lot of people, and I get feedback on both sides, negative and positive. A lot of people said just do the long form, and I do that. Other people have said that there's no way I'm watching 3 hours, but I would be interested in just the Yuga stuff. So please can it be a standalone Yuga video? So I'll then chop up the video and then do it. My wife does all the thumbnails for me, so I don't overthink them. Whatever I get, I get. That's how I get them. She helps me. She's happy to help me, and that's what happens there. In the absolute bull market, I had it wasn't Bianca doing the thumbnail. I had someone else doing it. I had someone else contacting new projects to see if they wanted to be on the show, and I had someone else helping us with whitelist opportunities that we could get. Now it just doesn't make sense. So that's how I do it. I take the one long form, and then I break it up into little videos that I put out there and see if anyone's interested in them. And yeah, that's my approach.
That's the move, bro. That's like the journey of the content creator. Eventually you hire someone out. Eventually you get someone who can do it better than you. That's like once you've done it yourself for a long, long time. I mean, I edited every single video for 2 years, or 10 years technically, but 2 years in NFTs before I even considered getting an editor. I never thought I would find one. And then GT pulled up and said, yo, I never edited before in my life, but here's what I got. And I said, oh, wow. If that's what you've got in your first try, then I will invest in you, my friends.
You see, I'd like to do more like edited stuff, like in the beginning when we spoke about the XRP stuff, and get that edited, any of my ums and whatever out of there. I wouldn't mind doing more of that and getting a proper editor. But for me at the moment, it's really simple. I'm just cutting up a video. I don't need any. It literally takes me maybe half an hour to cut it up. The thing that takes time is the keywords, loading it on YouTube, the thumbnail, the description, making sure I've got, because I like to put the sources of my content in it. So the end screens, the beginning screens, that stuff is the stuff that takes more of the time.
I was gonna say one thing you could do that would really capitalize, which may not be in this market, but like because you already cut up, like say the segment's 10 minutes, right? Instead of an hour and a half, like the show, or 2 hours. If you got an editor and said, okay, this XRP segment is the best one of the lot. This is the one I need to make a good edit with. So take this 10 minutes and turn it into one and make it sick. That's what I would do if I was you, because like you can choose, which one's the biggest story. Maybe there's 2 1 week, maybe there's 0. But if there's one that you're like, I need people to see this, but I don't even think they'll watch 10 minutes. I need them to get the quick and skinny kind of thing, that might be something like that's for sure what I would do. That's what I try to do. Just in this market, it may not be worth it, but
no, I hear it. I hear it for sure. All right, we've got Kile. What's your take on blur lending? I'll start with this one because Kate started with the last one. Look, I think it's very important, and I've got my one video that no one watches, which is my most valuable one, called my in real life investment video.
You need to just retweet that, through. By the way, retweet that and continue to post it every few months, because people should see that video. People should see that.
I'll put the video out. It just takes you through a little bit. I'll put it on Twitter for anyone watching now. Will get to see it.
Do little segments, little 1 minute segments, parts, and you get people to watch the whole thing. It's a really beautiful video. I think everyone should watch that.
Thank you. But I mean, it's just my story and my personal, not advice to anyone, my personal way that I've invested in my life, and been able to, from absolutely nothing, build myself up to where I have today. And that's something that I think is really, really important. So I think with knowing me, and by watching that video, you'll get to know me better as a very cautious person, and risk adverse, because my dad lost all of his money by being a little bit of a risk taker, and I've gone the opposite way, maybe arguably too risk adverse, which is ironic that I'm anyway involved in NFTs and crypto, because they are so risky. But either way, I've always made it very clear that you should only be playing with money that you can afford to lose, and even then you should, in crypto and NFTs, and even then you should only be playing with a tiny percentage of the money that you can afford to lose. And if you don't already have a house and a car and whatever, then I wouldn't be putting any of it. I'd be paying my house off first. I'd be paying my car off first before I would be looking at doing anything. So I think it's important to say that. The reason that's important in this question is I don't think anybody should be buying a risky asset, whether it be an NFT or cryptocurrency, as a loan. I don't think at all. I think it's absolutely irresponsible. You lending money to gamble, and that can be very, very dangerous. Also, the interest rates on it are huge, and it absolutely makes no sense unless you've got insider knowledge that you know for sure that this collection is going to pump because in a week's time they're going to announce that they've got a huge collab with Coca-Cola. And then, okay, lend as much as you can and buy as much as you can. And you have to know 100%, but that's insider trading. But I mean, it's blockchain, so who cares? But other than that, there's absolutely, in my opinion, I think it's irresponsible for anyone to lend money to buy a risky asset. That's my take on it personally.
Yeah, dude. Actually, it's funny. I put out a tweet and I responded to Zeneca, and I forget if I asked him directly or if I just posed the question. I was like, I think the gist of the question was like, why haven't you been canceled? No, you should be canceled, Zeneca. But I met him at VCon in person, and he was just a normal dude. But I remember I asked him, and I was like, I'm surprised you haven't been at least tried to been canceled because your involvement with Blur in the beginning. Everyone knew you were. It was a big thing and very bullish in the beginning, and it turned into something that everyone hated. I'm surprised you haven't been canceled publicly that I've seen at least. And he was like, bro, I have been canceled multiple times actually, and I didn't know that. I still don't know if that's true or not. That's just or maybe that was his perception. Maybe it is true. But with Blur, it seems like the majority of people are like, yeah, this ain't good overall for the space. I don't participate, dude. I don't know enough about Blur. I don't use it. I'm not really a trader like that. It's too degenerate. I don't have enough money to trade like that. And I definitely don't have enough money to be taking out loans, dude. Like, no way, dude. Not for me.
So I put that tweet out and Zeneca answered it, but I saw the answer was a little bit bitter towards what you had said, and I felt he had misunderstood what you were saying. I felt like he felt like you were doing a call to action for people to call him out. That's how he perceived it. And so and he had commented, and so it had like 1,500 views. You can see the views, which I'd never get more than 100 within 3 hours. And I deleted the whole thing, and then I messaged him, replied to him separately, and I said, but publicly, but separately. And I said, no, you've misunderstood what Cade was saying there. Like he wasn't saying people should. He was just saying that he's surprised that it hasn't, but that that not that there's merit or something to that effect. But the second, I just his reply made it feel in a way like he felt you were calling him out, and I didn't want that. I didn't want that out there, so I deleted that tweet.
But
if I had known that you had taken it in a way that he was just responding, I would have kept it up because I got really good engagement. I got 12 new subscribers on that day on my YouTube, but I deleted it immediately because I would never do anything like that. I see Keelay, our pet hooligan new resident, saying he's just asking for a friend on Blur, which is great. No, I do believe him. I do believe him. Maybe he was thinking about possibly doing it himself, but either way, doing it.
I was gonna say I'm reading Zeneca's response. I can't tell. I guess it's kind of up to the reader to decide. We don't really have to get into it if you want to, but I mean, his comment got 1,800 views. Looks like my tweet was deleted, or wait, it says this tweet was deleted by the author, but I'm the author.
That's me. No, I'm the author. I did a tweet with the video like we do, and I copied you in like we do, just saying Blur, da. And then he commented that, but then I deleted that original tweet because I felt like it might seem like he was seeming like you were attacking him, which you weren't. Cade, many people in the past have tried to cancel me, and they've all failed. And if you know properly, I'm an investor, which is different to this. I just felt he was attacking you, and I didn't want that on mine. So the second I saw his reply, I deleted the original tweet. Because again, for me, this isn't about views; it's a passion project. And again, I'm not going to in any way throw my friend under the bus. We've got Krishna saying, "Is there still an opportunity demand for a community manager in this market?" No, there isn't. I have had a couple of people reach out to me, but I mean, when it was really happening, I was literally not able to meet with people. I had a standard email saying, "This is what I can offer. This is like a resume. This is what I charge," because I didn't have enough time to even meet with them. Now I've been approached. I get approached maybe once a month max. And they don't want to pay, like in the good old days, I was getting paid between 1.5 to 3 ETH per project per month.
Nice.
And ETH was $2,000 to $3,000 to $4,000.
I had a few that offered, but they wanted 40 hours a week, and I was like, dude, I just can't give that to you. Like
yeah.
And that was maybe exchange for $2,000, which would be good if I could take that. But if I was gonna be like, oh, I can work 12 hours a week, that'd have been like, all right, it's like not even worth the money, you know.
Yeah. So ETH now is a third of what it was, and they would want 5 times the amount of work for half the money.
You have to be the one to literally carry those boats. You really got to carry those boats.
So I did. I mean, I was in there. People knew me. I was very involved. But I had my team, So I had Chris and Morland. So and between us, our time zones, we had that Discord covered full time. So me in South Africa, I had my 8-hour shift. Each of us had our 8-hour shift. And if anything happened, like, an attack or any fights or anyone needed anything, one of us were there. We had games nights every Thursday. They would host different games. We had it down to a good science. We were doing well.
Also, there's another part to that question, by the way. What are some qualities and skills of a great community manager? We've both done that job. Do you want to start?
I don't mind. I think from my perspective that you got to be a people person. That's a big thing. You got to like people. You got to like engaging with people. I think you got to be personable. Because a lot of the time things are misunderstood. It's the same as when you're sending each other text messages, just a husband and wife, or friends, or parent and a child. Often tone gets misunderstood, and that happens a lot in communities also. And I think it's really important to be a good communicator, so that you can keep the community up to date. Because the second the community started to feel like they weren't being updated frequently enough, or there wasn't enough details in what they were being, that's when people freak out. And it's like, whereas, if they knew, look, what I would usually recommend to my projects and would do is at least once a week on a select day in every project, there would be a weekly update announcement saying, in the last 7 days, this is what we've done. And in the next 7 days, this is what we're going to try and do. And that was consistent, the same day, the same time, every day, so that there was never any FUD around communication or what's going on or what's happening and all of that. So yeah, that would be my thing. Personable, hardworking, committed, but also a good communicator.
I think another important thing too, because I basically would just agree with that, and that would be pretty much my answer. But I just thought of this, popped in my head, that Philip and I both did. We just didn't think. It's just something we do, so we don't think about it. But like, we are also content creators and people within the space that are making content and stuff. So that's a huge plus for a community manager or moderator. You want to do that because you will get extra followers. Obviously, like, you will have an extra bit of a personal brand that comes from that. I know many people who started a career based off starting as a mod or something, and then taking over a few of those audience members, building, blah, 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 and done an exceptional job for themselves. And I'd say it also gives you some stature within Discord. They're like, oh, it's just some idiot community manager. Then they're like, oh, no, I know this person. They're all over Twitter. They're doing all this great content. It's a good thing to do. So I would say make content, become someone who's somewhat known, because there are opportunities. I'm not going to say there's not opportunities for community managing. There's a lot less, there's a lot, it's few and far in between, but there have been opportunities to do it. It's just, for me, like, the money trade-off.
Just the money, that's a problem. They were willing to pay so much more at the time.
But we've also been in the game for a while, and we're also, like, you especially are making tons of money. So like, it doesn't help you at all. I think if you are trying to get an opportunity, it's different. Like, yeah, you should probably take that, even if it's for free, just for the experience. Once you've gotten a couple on your belt, you can ask for a little bit of money. But in the beginning, I think you do need to scrape by, and it might be worth it. So
it's important to remember that I started as a mod. So yeah, I mean, I worked my way up. I started as a mod. There was no YouTube. There was nothing. I started as a moderator, unpaid, for not a cent, and that's sort of developed into community manager for that project. And then they pretty much left and handed me the keys, and I was in over my head. But I tried my best anyway, and that was my first project. The Wolf behind me on this side, Wolf Club. That was that very first project, and then from there, I tried to get Wolf Club relaunched on SpacePunk's Launchpad. SpacePunks was the first people before Dogepound to do a Launchpad, and they couldn't do it because a smart contract was already deployed. But they liked me, and they said, Philip, will you go in and help any project we accept on their launchpad, help them get ready for launch. So audit their website, be their community manager, supply them with mods, check out their Discord, make sure that they've got all the right information, rewrite stuff if they need to, make sure the roadmap's written well. And I was hired by Spacepunks, and I would go in with Morland and Chris. Spacepunks would be the ones who would compensate us for doing that. And then when the project would launch, our thing would be off with Spacepunks. We'd done our job, but then those projects wanted to keep us on often. So then I would continue working under them, but I was still then working for Spacepunks and going in and auditing. It was mad, absolutely insane.
Yeah, bro. Well, also, what are you pulling up? Is that art?
I don't know. I had to think. Tish said we must show more art, so I'm busy showing some art.
Are you an artist?
No, I just saw Tish say he wants to see art, so some art. I think he means we must like talk more about art projects. I think both you and I feel that we should, but I don't know, just a little bit of a way of doing what he said. Is there any questions or anything in Twitter Spaces?
No, Spaces were good. Yeah, honestly, bro, I think we covered some good shit today. Really good shit.
Yeah, it was a great show. For sure. I just want to let everyone know that there's going to be no show next week, but we're going to resume again on the 29th of July. We're going to miss you all. But yeah, no show next week. Next show is going to be 29th of July. So everyone who joined us, especially to anyone who's still here from beginning to end, thank you very, very much. But for anyone who even popped in, really good. Thank you. Remember to always be kind, and we will see you on the 29th of July.
Oh yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the show, hit that like button, subscribe. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Well, I'll be here throughout the week, but not for the Wednesday show. Yeah, whatever.